Light workers everywhere are experiencing difficulties with time. They are finding it especially difficult to get things done in a normal amount of time. For many it seems as though everything is taking a little longer. In addition, there is an anxiety in the air that gives us the impression that we must hurry and get on with it. It leaves us with the underlying feeling that if we don't hurry up and move into our contracts, that the ascension will happen without us. The group speaks to this by saying that the feeling of anxiety is a biological side effect of our increased perceptions. Here they offer us insights to universal time and how we can begin to experience it. We are once again deeply honored to address this group of masters with the title of Light Workers. This is a chosen title, and is bestowed upon all those requesting to carry it. It reflects a willingness to consciously carry light to planet Earth, and this attitude is the only prerequisite. As you know, we are reluctant to use titles of any kind. We find humor in the fact that humans place so much importance on titles. We see that oftentimes humans accept messages of questionable integrity because of an elaborate title attached to it. We ask you to give the attention to the love content of the message and use your own discernment to all information that enters your field. This is the greatest expression of the God within each of you and will help you maintain your balance in these times. We tell you that even with this aversion to titles, we are in fact honored to call ourselves light workers. In place of using this title to place us on some imaginary ladder of importance, we use it as an affirmation of our intent. We invite you all to do the same. We are aware that often you feel distress and discomfort as you stretch your beings to incorporate the higher vibrations. We tell you that you are loved beyond your understanding for this act. At this juncture, we wish to point out that the vibrations of those we are addressing has changed considerably since the time we began the flow of this information. The vibrational advancement accomplished by this action paves the way for many others to follow more easily. Your willingness to move forward and take the lead for the benefit of the planet is what endears you to us so. We are proud to be here offering this information for your individual discernment. We are here only because you have asked. In asking, you have exercised your power and have also allowed us to fulfill our contracts on a very high level. We humbly thank you for this opportunity. We are deeply honored to be a part of the game as humanity steps into the next stage of evolution. In this session, we wish to speak of your changing perception of time. On the game board, you have the mechanics of polarity that often color your perceptions. We ask you to understand that this was a necessary part of the game board. Looking through eyes tainted with polarity, you can only see the dimension of time that you know as linear. Your existence on the game board has been one of being finite pieces of the infinite whole. Since it was not even possible for you to understand the concept of infinite in your current condition, it was likewise not possible for you to understand the perception of the universal now. This is now changing as a result of your forward movement. Much is now available to you that you are only just beginning to be aware of. This is a time of return to your power, and as it floods back into your consciousness, many doors open. One of these doors is a new relationship to what you call time. Those of you that have requested to step fully into Plan B on the game board have set about a shift deep within your own biology. Through your intent to move forward, you have begun the process of shifting your biology at the cellular level that you know to be the DNA. We have spoken of this in prior messages and told you that this was actually a return to a state that you once knew when you first formed the grand game. Returning to this state of higher vibrational biology is bringing about changes that are just now beginning to show themselves. As your biology settles into the higher vibratory levels, you may experience heightened states of awareness and sensitivity to energy. With each new level of vibration attained on the planet, a short period may be needed for your biology to adjust. This is a normal process and is not to be feared. It is simply your biology adjusting. These symptoms will often show as lethargy or simply a lack of energy. Other times it will be body aches and energy sensitivity in many areas. This can be termed the vibrational flu because the symptoms are similar. In addition, your heightened sensitivity to energy will often show in your emotional bodies. For a time during these drastic shifts, such as the introduction of the second wave, it will be commonplace for light workers to experience heightened emotional states. Please be aware that these are not only a direct result of the shifting of the planet but also the shifting within your own biology. The emotional body and the physical body are so closely linked that the subtle changes of the DNA often create this heightened emotional state. These two causes are creating difficulties for those of you leading the way to vibrational advancement. We understand your pain and ask you to be patient, as this will ease quickly. Each time you experience these shifts, it will get easier. It is rare that a wave of energy as powerful as the second wave be introduced to the planet. With this physical and emotional challenge also comes a strengthening that will make this easier the next time. For now, please view it as an annoyance and know that it will not last. Further work through joining energy with the second wave will help assimilate this energy into the planet and ease these tensions. Grounding and breathing techniques will help balance this adjustment process. As the biology shifts to higher states, your true senses become more attuned. In reality, you are moving from a dense body to an ethereal body. In doing so, you are also moving from a field of linear time to a field of universal, or now time. In your limited perception, you are only aware of very narrow band of vibration. Most animals on the game board have senses of perception that extend well beyond human capabilities. They can see, hear, and smell far beyond our ranges of perception. As your own DNA begins to realign and shift to the higher states, your range of perception steadily increases. Most of these increases you will not feel in traditional ways. It is not as if your body will hurt as a result of shifting DNA. Instead, this shifting will begin to show itself in more subtle forms. One of these forms is in becoming aware of other dimensions of time. Let us lead you on a journey to illustrate the reality of universal time in relationship to your perception. Being limited to 3 dimensions, you see time as only linear. Visualize yourself traveling very fast through a long hallway. Even though you do not see the end, you have awareness that there is a beginning and an end to this hallway. This illustrates your being in finite form and reflects the polarity of the game board. You have been traveling down this hallway for the duration of the game thus far, and you are quite familiar with the passageway. Advancing down this long hallway, you make a conscious decision to raise your vibrational level, and in doing so start to increase your range of perception. Suddenly you look to your right and notice that there is another hallway going off at a 90-degree angle. Even though it was a very quick glimpse, you are sure of what you saw. You quickly search your memory banks for an explanation with no results. With a lack of information, your ego intercedes to inform you that it was just your imagination. Temporarily accepting this explanation, you return to the journey down the hall of linear time. It is not long before you catch a glimpse of another hall, this time off to your left. Further down the path you see one going off directly above you and then one below. This time it is not possible to explain this as simply imagination. You make a mental note that all of these passageways are at right angles to each other. You wonder what is down these halls but are unable to explore any further. Your speed down the hall continues at the same speed as before, but your range of perception seems to be increasing. You can see more than you have ever before. Now, as you pass these other halls, you can see that they are very similar to yours. These are actually other dimensions crossing each other at right angles. Now we pull you way back into deep space to view this collection of hallways. Moving back, you can see that each one of these hallways is ever so slightly curved. This curve is so infinitesimal, that even from inside the hall this curve is not detectable. Moving further back you can begin to see that with this curve these hallways all connect in ways to form a very large ball. This is an example of circular time and also relates to the time-space continuum previously introduced to the planet. To answer the questions forming, yes, the channel and light worker known as Einstein was correct. Each of these hallways is connected to each other in several places as their paths naturally intersect. From here it can be seen that even though you may see yourself as traveling down a hallway with a beginning and an end, that this is not the case at all. From this perspective it can be seen that with these intersections it is possible to be anywhere in the sphere at any time as long as you know which turns to take.